Welcome, everybody, to another edition of Frontera Radio podcast. I'm your host, Sergio Mora. Thank you for joining us. We have a very good episode lined up for you today. A good friend of mine who I love nerding out with, a tech expert who is a cybersecurity expert. And he just got back from the nation's largest cybersecurity convention, which is called DEF CON. And he brought me a nice little souvenir from there that says Darknet Diaries, a podcast that I'm going to check out as soon as I leave here. I'm going to go tune into that podcast. My good friend Tommy Gutierrez, who's on camera now. Tommy, you're on camera. Welcome to the podcast. He owns Mac Solutions, which is the oldest and best Mac servicing and repair service. And he's my go-to shop whenever I think that I've gotten hacked, and I immediately call this man right here. And he's like, no, you weren't hacked, man. But but you need to spruce up your cybersecurity settings. And I'm like, okay, how do I do that? And he's like, enable two-form authentication, two-factor authentication. And he goes down the list. And he saved my ass more than a few times. Tommy, welcome to the show, man. Thank you for accepting.
Thanks. A couple of clarifications there.
Okay.
DEF CON is the largest gathering of security professionals convention in the world.
In the world?
Oh,
Jesus.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know if I brought this up, but and excuse my ignorance here.
Okay.
Total ignorance. Ignorance to the 10th degree. When you see people from Asia there at a restaurant eating, it's like me going over there and trying to eat with chopsticks. The
Okay.
reverse. They're using a fork. I was like, and I was asking, what's going on? It's like, I'm not used to this. I'm like, what do you mean you're not? It's a fork. And he was just like, I've never used this before. I was like, wow, you never think about that.
Culture shock, man. And so then there's people from all over the world.
Oh yeah, I was hanging out with a couple of people from Australia, some from Ireland, and some other countries that were there. Quite a bit. Everybody was there.
Oh, interesting, man.
Yeah.
And so what's a day like there at DEF CON like?
I have to wear a shirt like yours, and I have to have colored hair while I'm walking around.
Purple? Did you just dye your hair black again?
No, I just went like
was
this.
Was it purple for a couple of weeks?
No, they it's an interesting. It was 30,000 people.
30,000.
30,000 inside there was 3 locations. It was the largest location was in the Caesar Forum, which is behind the Link.
Okay.
And then they had some in the Link, and they had some at the Flamingo. Flamingo mainly had a lot of the offensive security, like the hacking stuff.
Okay.
Yeah.
So there's offensive and defensive.
There's offensive, defensive, social engineering.
Social engineering.
Oh yeah, how to pretend that you are really a hacker and you convince your buddy to put you on a podcast.
Okay, I got it. And so tell me, a lot of the people there, and now that you say offensive, ultimately it takes a sophisticated hacker to be able to know how to secure stuff. That's the myth, right? That ultimately the best cybersecurity experts were on the other side, on the offensive side, that they were.
Yeah, you start off mainly in offense to learn what you need to do, because all the tools are for both. Yeah. You use the same tool for offense and defense. So mainly,
when you say tools, what are you talking about?
Well, when you talk about like tools, an example, a Flipper Zero. Most of your audience may not know what that is.
I don't either.
But a Flipper Zero is a device that hacker. It's a toolkit. A hacker has a toolkit. It has lock-picking tools for physical security. Yeah. You have the keys for the elevator. So when you have to use these little barcodes to get into a certain floor, well, the hackers have the keys to override that.
Okay.
And they have the uniforms that I work in here. So you come by, and they have all this toolkits that they use, including to door jams, getting into doors, getting all kinds of stuff into, man traps and such, double door man trap.
Yeah, okay.
So a Flipper Zero is something that someone can go to a lock device, lock sensor door, and scan it and go ahead and get the code needed, and then pass that code to a card, and then use the card to open the secure door.
Okay. So that's part of the arsenal.
It's just there's so much, and that's like physical security. Then you have, the computer tools, the tools that are used, the framework tools, Cobalt Strike, Kali, Tails, and I can keep going on and on and
these
on.
Are these softwares
free?
Are they're free softwares?
The majority of them are free. I think Cobalt Strike you might have to pay, and they're gonna
like shareware or what?
No, these are open source.
Open source?
Yeah,
okay.
Kali is a version of Linux, also is Tails.
Okay.
And Kali is the most popular one, and then Tails is where you want to make sure that you boot up off of a USB, so if anything happens, there's no record of anything anywhere. It's completely gone.
So these softwares, there's a handful of them that are considered the go-to tools for cybersecurity people, the ones you just listed. And okay, so you have all those in USBs or in your laptops.
You usually store them on a USB. Think about you're having Windows, right?
Yes.
And you have your email program, you have your browser, all that stuff.
Uh-huh.
Well, it's like Windows, but Linux, and all it has is hacking tools. The whole operating system, just hacking tools.
And you plug that into a mainframe or network?
No, you plug that into a laptop, or now they have them for Android.
Okay.
And you just go ahead and log in and use the tools to exploit whatever you need to find vulnerabilities. And once you find the vulnerability, then you can exploit it.
And then what would you do? Like what do you do with Cobalt and all these ones that you just listed?
They're called frameworks, like MITRE framework and Metasploit. They're tools. They're just tools that you use that already are automated to, once you find your target, once you're on there, and say you want a specific computer, you want to exploit it to find out, okay, I need to get admin rights. I'll run one of these tools to, see if there's if how they always send out security software, hey, patch.
Yeah, okay.
Well, if you don't patch, the software knows that machine's not patched. So they already know what the exploit is, and they just get in there and exploit the machine.
And basically you're looking for infiltrations from a foreign...
From a defensive side, what we'll use the tools to go into, a client wants to know, okay, tell me how secure I am. Okay, I'll go in there, and then I'll run these tools and then, find all kinds of exploits left and right, get in and, wave at them from their computer. They're like, how the hell did you do that? And then you go and you explain it to them, hey, this is what you have open and stuff like that. And everything, when it's the full blown, pen test, which penetration test.
Yeah.
A full blown involves, lawyers, contracts, scope of work, everything. So, and we have our little get out of jail card, because, the only people that know most of the times is usually going to be a high level owner of the facility or chairman that's going to know, and maybe their top IT person. But all the rest of the people don't know, including security. They don't know. So,
how big is the problem? I mean, okay, so we had recently, like a year or two ago, the city of Laredo was shaken down. And then they didn't realize that they had walked off with millions of dollars of some hackers.
That was a social engineering attack, from the little that I know of it. And there's stuff, a lot of people don't know that a lot of this stuff is out there on the dark web.
Well, I mean, you could hire people to do these kinds of things for you.
Well, no,
right on the dark web.
Well, it's called
the darknet.
Malware as a service. DDoS. There's all kinds of services. You're a little high school guy that wants to buy a Ferrari next month. Okay, you make sure we're going to mail you this little device. You plug it into the teacher's computer, and you walk out. Once we get control of everything, we'll send you the check.
Okay. okay. Let's back up. The city of Laredo, which I think everybody sort of was aware that happened.
Of one of those attacks.
Okay, so I wasn't aware there was more than one. But for the one that became very public, which I think it was KGNS that actually discovered it. It was a very good piece of investigative journalism that looking at, wait a second, what happened here, man? Like, what happened, and who are these people, and what's the scope of the hacking that they do? I mean, I know that they go after municipalities like ours. I know that they go into banks. I know that they go. Who are these people, and how do they pull these scams off, and how do they do it successfully?
Example would be like, okay, say I needed to get into your bank account, right? You do a podcast.
Okay.
So I'm grabbing your voice.
Interesting.
And I'm going to do a deep fake of your voice.
Okay.
So now I sound like you, and I'm calling the banker.
Okay. And you reset the password.
And I change to what you're saying. And it's your voice.
Yeah.
And telling the banker, hey, my family member Tommy, I'm out of town, but my family member Tommy's coming over to withdraw some money. I just want to make sure I'm giving authority to this.
Yeah.
And the banker knows you. Oh, Sergio, see, no problem. Have them come over, and you tell them my name and everything. I show my ID. I establish integrity, confidentiality, and everything. I need the available funds. They send it to me, and I just walk out.
Okay.
And then you just like, what the hell happened? Was you called? And
is that common?
Yes.
Really?
Hugely common for big corporations. Big corporations, always.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
They go into the bank accounts?
I think at the city, and this is only guesstimate, but the little knowledge that I have what happened was that they, accounts payable. You know what I mean? So if I know that you're paying, I'm monitoring all the public information, which is OSINT, open source intelligence. So you do OSINT on a target. Say someone wants to target the city. They do OSINT.
Basically, that's like open records. They go
anything that's public information.
Yeah, which municipalities a lot is.
Exactly.
Right.
So what happens is that you identify the victim. Accounts payable. I go to the website. Who works in accounts payable? Bingo! I got me a winner there. So I'm going to communicate with this individual and tell them, hey, I'm here from Line Decker Construction. We're going to send you a bill, but we changed banks because we didn't like our other bank. They got scammed and we got scammed. We changed accounts. Here's the new account. I'm sending you the invoice. And the invoice, and he pays it because he knows.
And now there's even insurance for this kind of scam.
Yes,
right?
But the insurance companies are now requesting that whoever they insure must meet certain conditions.
Yeah.
That they have a pen test done, a professional pen test done to make sure that they're taking active steps to prevent such things.
That's like a cybersecurity review or what?
Well, that you hire a cybersecurity company to come in and test and make sure you have logs of what's going on, you have procedures. Very similar to like here in this town.
Yeah.
If you mention ISO 27, whatever ISO standard to any import-export company, they're like, oh yeah, we know what you're talking about.
Yes.
Yeah, you walk in, you don't get into the facility, you show your ID, you wait till the person that comes and escorts you in, and stuff like that. Very similar. There's similar processes for that in cyber.
And by now it's so common that like pretty much probably every municipality is investing in this kind of insurance.
Yeah, they're investing on it, but here's the catch. The cyber guys love that.
Well, yeah, it was big business, no?
Yeah, because if I find out you have cyber insurance, bingo, I'm going to go get you because I know I'm going to get paid.
Oh, got it. Okay.
And then what they do is what's called a watering hole attack. They go after insurance companies. They tap into their networks and they protect their networks beyond protected. The insurance company doesn't even know. Insurance company is never going to get hacked. They're going to have the best security. Why? Because the hackers are securing it because they want to see all the customers that they have so they can go after the customers.
Jesus. Okay. Wow, man. Whoa. So this is going on. It's been going on for a while. You hear about this going on all over the place. Who's doing it, man? Like, is it some?
It's everybody.
Is it there's like so many Eastern Europeans? Like,
most of them are.
Is it local? Is that an issue?
I mean, if you want to hire someone, like if I want to hire a hacker, tell me what I need to do. Okay, you go plug this device into the water plant. Or you walk in and look at the water plant, and if they have some kind of code there that you can't get in, but it's hooked up to a network wire, get to that network wire.
Yeah.
Once I plug into that network wire, it's game over. I'm already in the network.
Basically, you're giving other people access to a computer network.
Yeah, and then
the gist of it, right?
Yeah, and then from you did the physical penetration. After that, the wizards in the backyard over there, somewhere in a dark room, are going in there and now doing what they need to do.
But who what's the profile of the people that do this? Are they big? Are they big criminal organizations? Are they individuals? Are they 18-year-olds in their mom's basement?
It's a full organization for some of them. You call, say, you get a screen that says, hey, your computer's been locked or whatever. You call a specific number, and they have a whole customer service. It's an enterprise, full thing.
Oh, like the people that did it.
Yeah. They full enterprise.
They're like, oh, thank you for calling. You've been hacked. Your number 4523.
We're here to help you. They have health insurance. They have health plans. They have everything. It's a full enterprise.
Okay.
So they offer everything. They have their own HR and everything. And all you do is you call, and they're, oh yes, we've had so many of those. Here's what you need to do. We got people that can help you here. Let me pass you on to Akdal over there. And he called, okay, you got to go ahead and go to your bank or go to whatever, get some crypto. They're like, what the hell is crypto? It's like, well, that's the only way that the hackers will let you let go of your data. We're here to help you. It's them.
Yeah. And you bring up another good point, crypto, man.
Everything is handled in crypto.
Before we get into crypto, because I do want to, let me just continue down this line of thought. Obviously, money is a very big
they're averaging about
target. I mean, money.
$3 million an hour. It's a lot of money that comes in.
Wait, $3 million an hour is what it is estimated to be hacked.
That's what they were getting at their height.
Okay.
When Bitcoin was worth a lot of money, and these ransom gangs were just going to town on everybody.
And that's what they're known as. They're ransom.
Yeah,
ransomware. They hold people hostage.
They encrypt all your data, and you have to pay a ransom for it.
Which is what happened here.
That's what happened for one incident. Remember, there's different entities in town. That's another thing. A lot of these entities that have been victims of ransomware believe, and for the most part, nobody really knows about it, for the exception of those that have access or that get into, the dark web.
Yeah.
Your stuff is there.
Yeah.
So, like if someone, I can personally tell you that several law enforcement agencies have been popped. Hospitals have been popped.
Uh-huh. Schools
have been popped. There's a lot of lawyers have been popped. Uh-huh. So, their information's out there.
Man, that's fascinating. How about, going down to the individual level, right? To just regular consumers like me. When you start getting messages, constant messages from just strangers wanting to chat, hi, how are you doing? Or that kind of stuff. You know what I'm talking about?
Social engineering.
Can you describe a little bit about that? Like, what is it? Like, who are these people? What do they want? I've sort of followed along sometimes, like when I'm bored. Like,
yeah, well, they're trying to create trust within you and trying to create a conversation, and that's why a lot of people get scammed. I've had a lot of friends of mine have called me. It's like, hey man, I accidentally sent this photo. So, it's like, no. And, and they start communicating with these people thinking that, it's real. And these, they're being redfished, or what's that thing called?
Catfish.
Catfished. Yeah.
Well, I mean, I get them all the time. Like, hey, Carla, are we going to meet for lunch?
Yeah.
And you're like, well, this isn't Carla. Like, who's this? Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry.
Exactly. Yeah.
I'm sorry. Who are you? Oh, hi, nice to meet you. And then they want to strike up a conversation. I mean, I know exactly what it is. And I'll play along because I'm bored. Like, hey, babe, how are you?
Yeah, but I mean, you should never play around with them. Even I've learned that it's not worth it because they have access to all your stuff already.
What do you mean?
How did they get your number?
I don't know.
Exactly. That information they already have. They have your number, your name, and your address.
But it's not like they're just. Are they real people, or is it like AI bots, or there's someone sitting there actually?
That's all they do.
Texting me like, "Hey, Carla."
Well, no, the text is usually a bot.
Okay.
If you're responding via text, it's going to be a bot.
Yeah.
Now, verbal, then that's when the human gets called. Hey, we got a sucker here. Call them in.
Okay.
Boom. That's where it goes. But most of the stuff is all automated. Same thing for the phishing scams and everything. Everything's bots.
Everything is bots.
Yeah.
So this is happening like on
it's
just
on a
massive scale. And I mean, we're sort of digital, maybe not completely digital natives, but pretty much we know what's going on. But I mean, the elderly and people that really don't know that the dangers that are lurking there, right?
When I've had to do like phishing tests,
Yeah.
I bang them all the time. My specialty is the highly educated. Oh, those are my favorites.
Yeah.
Why? Because I use them. I usually get them in two ways. Number one, I send them a phishing thing, and I'll make sure I'll send them 3 or 4 that's bothering them.
Yeah.
You make sure it's bothering them where they want it to stop. But I always make sure I include 2 links.
Okay.
The 2 where the payload is included is on the first link is on the unsubscribe. You click unsubscribe, I got you. Or if you click report this phishing.
Okay, and those are the emails that are made to look like you're getting an email.
Emails or text or whatever. If you want to unsubscribe, boom, click on this link.
Well, you get a lot of them that it's like it's Facebook customer support.
Oh, yeah.
And you've been hacked. Click here.
Yeah.
And like definitely you shouldn't click there.
Do not click anything. You get anything from anyone, and it's usually urgent. This is 3 main things. It's always like, this is urgent. You have to act now.
Yeah.
I mean, come on, and it's hard because some of my friends who are hardcore hackers, way better than my skills, they've been hit because they were either shopping or the kids were crying or whatever. It's like they get, okay, and that's when they get you off guard. It's like, ugh, can't believe I did that.
Well, that's how they got what's his face, the DNC guy. Was it John Podesta or that caused the email leaks?
I mean, because back then at that time this
was
already going on.
Yeah.
And they weren't prepared for this. Now they're getting more and more prepared. But back then, all of this stuff was just going wild, and everybody was just, it was a cash cow. You could hack into anybody now. But in a lot of ways, now you still can, but you need to be proactive, cyber hygiene. Okay,
what's cyber hygiene?
Cyber hygiene is mainly making sure, like, your social media.
Yeah.
All my friends, they know me. Whenever they get tagged, I got tagged. The latest one is, look who died in this thing, and they tag someone.
Yeah.
So it's a link. Your friend died here. Well, really? Who was it? And they click on it. Boom. Gotcha.
Is this you in this picture?
Yeah. Is this you in this picture? We saw you or whatever. Or look who died or whatever. And their friends they're tagged. And then when their friends on there click on the link, it'll prompt you to view this photo into your Apple ID or your Facebook ID or whatever to log in to see it. Yeah. And that's where they capture your login and password. What I usually tell them is like, guys, go fix your tags. You know what I mean? Yeah. Go go into your social media account and you tell it, if anybody's going to tag me, nope, it doesn't. It's not seen by anybody until I see it and I approve it. And it's right there. Settings, security, tagging. Go to your tagging, update your tagging, go to your feed. Who sees your feed? Friends of friends, friends only, or anybody in the world?
Anybody in the world.
Take that off.
Okay.
Now, so like on your photos that you put on Facebook, you have you can put them on folders, family, blah, 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 blah. You create all these folders, right?
Yeah.
All the folders you create, you can set security settings. Only my friends can see this, or only family, or only this group of people can see it. You can do all that. But you know how you can put your photo and your background?
Yeah.
Well, anything that's on your photos, you keep changing. I updated my photo, and I updated my photo. Some people have like 30 or 100 photos there. Those are public.
Yeah.
So I think that's how you get impersonated.
Well, I mean, and you bring me to the point where I talk to you on a regular basis, but like the most recent one, a buddy of mine messages me, hey man, there's a clone of your account. It never happened to me, but it's happened to thousands of people that I know. And I was like, well, what should I do? He's like, well, you should do a post saying that you got hacked. And I was like, yeah, okay, that sounds like what I should do. And so
you're an expert. I should follow your advice.
And so I took a screen cap of the screen cap that he sent me. And I do a post. I got hacked, which was a mistake because it wasn't a hack. I was cloned. Thank you. But immediately after I post it, I start getting an avalanche of comments on the post click here.
With links.
I'll help you. I'll help you recover your account. Click here. Dale click aquí. Yo recuperaré tu cuenta. And I'm like, holy shit, man. Who are these people and how did they know that I posted this?
All your friends are clicking on it.
I hope not.
It's just a domino effect. Everybody gets hacked.
I hope not. And it was a clone. They used one of your profile pictures, one of your cover pictures. And apparently they go around asking your friends for money.
Yeah, and they probably use your photo and your account to do the same thing for someone else. Mora shows up. Hey, my friend Tommy got hit. Here, click on this.
Yeah. All of a sudden, Tommy's asking me for $200. I'm like, fuck no, I'm not gonna give you $200.
In crypto or gift cards.
But so I was like, okay, who are these people? But I guess we just leave it. I wasn't planning on doing anything, but then you came on. And I mean, I could still feel the force of your statement, like, take this off now. I'm like, oh shit, this guy really knows his shit. Let me take it off. And I took it off immediately. And you're like, dude, what? Like, and then you're like, dude, you got hacked. I'm like, no. They just cloned my account. It's like, well, you put hacked on the thing and it's different. I'm like, yeah, it's completely different. But like the term everyone uses is hacked.
Yeah.
It's sort of like an umbrella term for any time you get messed with online, which is pretty common. But well, thank you for that.
Well, here's the steps when that happens.
Yeah.
When that happens and someone sends you, hey, look, whatever, search that name or have the people that suspect it on the top on the top right side. There's 3 dots, a very profile.
Yeah.
Click on the 3 dots and report the profile, and you can say impersonating, and you can put your own. They'll put, because they're friends of yours. They'll put impersonating Sergio, and Facebook takes it off within minutes, like crazy fast.
Yeah, well, and now it's become such a pervasive problem. I mean, it's just like it makes it sort of unpleasant, like the whole experience unpleasant.
Yeah, because they did intelligence on you. So does this guy have a lot of followers? Yes, he does. Let's have some fun with him.
Is all that automated, or do you think that there's people that run sort of these?
It just depends. You can set up a whole bunch of scripts for everything and do everything you want it to do.
Okay.
And it'll automate everything. All they want is you to click on that link, and then they just build.
So now these companies are coming out with these new verified accounts. Elon Musk with Twitter started it.
Yeah, but you have to pay for it.
You have to pay for it. You have to pay.
Anybody can be verified.
Anybody can be verified, but I mean, they charge you like $8 or $9 a month, and you get like the check mark.
Yeah.
That says verified,
which is a complete open to all hackers everywhere.
So you wouldn't recommend those new measures?
No. No, because I mean, I can go pretend I'm Tom Cruise. Only I'll be Tomas Cruz, and they'll put me a little check mark with all his photos that are open and his deep fakes and put them in there.
So you don't think that it's a legitimate attempt to try to correct this problem, or is it just a method to just make some money?
Just make money, because before you had to prove it. There was a lot of celebrities that had actual accounts, but they used their celebrity name. They didn't use their real name.
Yeah.
So when they needed to prove it, they had a hard time proving it.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
So the blue check before was more secure than it is now.
Yeah, because now everybody can get an account verified. Well, they do, for example, this podcast, which talks a lot about political issues, and I mean, the troubles that social media has caused with Russian influence campaigns and all that, which was a big issue.
Yeah, I mean that came into social engineering and creating your army of human bots.
But wait, okay, you had the troll farms, for example, the Russian troll farms.
Yeah, but
this dude, the Wagner guy, ran troll farms that would create ads. They would set up events in the United States and the pro guns, and then they would set up an event for the anti-guns, and they would cause them to confront each other.
All that gathering is actually happening again. It's in the process of gathering the data. Usually what you'll see is when someone shares a post, let's just say they, dogs that we love, dog lovers or whatever group. and they it's always start off with a picture to get the people's attention. Picture number one, make sure it's a picture that people gravitate to, and then put a little sad story, whatever. Come join our group, or this whatever.
Yeah.
This dog's missing, or whatever the case, and you start sharing it with people. So they build. It's like, okay, we know who they communicate with. And if you look at the group, anytime you see these, like, what was your favorite car in 1960s, which is basically trying to get your password, and but also if you look, well, every time you put like, hey, put your top 10 whatever, and they're questions that are security questions, and people answer, yes, when I was 13, what was the name of your elementary school? If your mother wouldn't have been married, what would her last name be?
Yeah, all the typical questions.
Yeah,
that
so
you get.
those are all those questions, and people answer them on social media.
Yeah.
I'm like, really?
Well, like those apps that would take pictures of your face and make you look 50 years older.
Oh yeah, those are all coming back to China.
Okay.
Yeah, they're building the whole. They are the best at using AI to get pictures of everybody. You know what? China's like a big state. Everybody's going. And another thing is, are you familiar with GDPR?
No.
GDPR is a highly it's a lawyer-proof privacy act in Europe. Mm-hmm. That's why all these companies or U.S. companies are always getting sued, because GDPR is really secure. You cannot sell or you cannot do stuff with European data.
It's like a regulation, sort of regulatory framework for social media.
Yeah, okay. For anything internet.
Okay.
So with Europeans, you can't gather data. You can't sell that data. It's a really, and they wrote it, what they call lawyer proof.
Yeah. And
I know because I've had certain friends who are prosecuting things, and they're like, "What the hell's up with this GDPR?" Because it's solid as heck. You know what other country uses it?
Which one?
China.
Oh, really?
They did the same thing because they want to protect their citizens, so they implemented the same deal.
That's
the most craziest company did, or country did the same thing.
What do you think about the TikTok controversy? I mean, is it lit?
One's tricky.
Are they being sincere when they talk about the dangers? Because the Chinese government their system is obviously different from ours. And the Chinese government has a right to demand anything from a Chinese company, whether it be data, whether it be anything.
DOJ? DOJ?
Well, I mean that's a thing.
Apple, hey, give me all. Microsoft,
yeah, but there's litigation and there's lawsuits and there's a bunch of the companies have a lot of free rights here. Over there, it's no questions asked. It's like, hey, we need this Huawei. That's why there was such a big controversy with Huawei, and there was a big issue with the 5G equipment that they are one of the best companies in the world at, and they were selling all this equipment around the world for companies and governments to set up their 5G networks, and the United States basically said no dice, man, because the government has access to this. There's a lot of controversy with the biggest drone maker in the world, DJI. By far the biggest drone maker in the world.
And video cameras and most of all this equipment.
And video cameras. And then you have TikTok, which is just an insanely popular social media app that uses algorithms to basically curate what its algorithms deem to be of most interest to every individual user. And it's taken off like wildfire. I mean, everybody that I know, they've tried to get me to join in, and I don't want to join, not because of the security issue, but because
I mean we have the same thing with what we're doing right now. Now at this point, a deep fake can be created from you or me already.
Yeah,
just with this conversation that we're having.
So do you think that it's a threat to individual users, to 18-year-olds that are on TikTok, that they're exposed in terms of cybersecurity? They use TikTok, or should it be banned in your opinion?
Same thing. We go back to the same clause. If it's free, you're the product.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So they have access to everything. If it's a free product, they have access to it. You're providing them a service. That means you gather all the data. All the data that's being produced, they have access to it, and they're just gathering it.
Well, I mean, they're using it to target ads, which is
That's only one of the reasons. You
That-
can use it for
exactly.
so many things.
well, of course, yeah, definitely. I mean, and that I think is a major concern, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's just, you know, they're DEF CON, we saw a lot of this stuff. We actually went to one of the talks that they were talking about that 5G, Huawei or whatever. I think it was Colombia. A guy from Colombia was saying, that we just implemented the whole thing here in the country of Colombia, and now we're worried about it. But it's too late now.
The infrastructure,
Yeah.
they built the infrastructure with that. You talked about Bitcoin, crypto. Crypto is an interesting sort of development in the tech world that had its ascent, and then it had its
It goes up and down.
it goes up and down, but I mean, they got to a point where it just really took a nosedive. That's when FTX collapsed, and Binance
Wasn't the only one.
well, no, that wasn't the only one. But I mean, in terms of the promise of crypto, and it's living up to its promise, because mostly the people that have found any actual use for it are people that are doing sketchy stuff, money laundering,
Well, remember,
drug trafficking.
the blockchain is public. So,
Yeah.
you know what I mean, you can actually trace the wallets,
Uh-huh.
you know, and just wait till when it's pulled, you know, from there. So it's a public ledger. And really, you know, when you're talking about crypto, it's the main thing is blockchain.
The blockchain technology, which is not only used for cryptocurrencies, it's used for a lot of
one
stuff.
of the byproducts of it.
Of course, yeah.
So it's the blockchain that matters. But remember, that's usually how law enforcement can track these things and have stopped a lot of this ransomware because of the blockchain, you know, the way they do it. Now, of course, you'll get into other things that, you know, Monero. I don't know, you're familiar with Monero?
No.
They're going to open a whole new door. I told you we were going some really...
Go right ahead, brother. Go down that rabbit hole.
Monero is a different type of cryptocurrency, and it's untraceable in theory.
Uh-huh.
Although certain people say that they've already found ways, just like they've, you know, done the onion. But, you know, Monero is one of those cryptocurrencies that if you convert your crypto into Monero, it's untraceable.
Okay.
So it's anonymous on the blockchains.
Well, I read an article that talked about companies that are experts at sort of delving in and tracking.
Oh, yeah. It's
the
really
transactions.
Yeah. A lot of the InfoSec community will always be looking at all kinds of transactions because, I mean, the founder of Bitcoin.
Satoshi.
Yeah.
Oh, no, that's right?
Yeah, that's him.
Nakamoto? Satoshi Nakamoto? Nobody knows who he is?
But that's why they see on the ledger, they see his account. And they see it's still there. Nobody's touched it. So that's why they're like, hey.
With billions of dollars in
So
Bitcoin.
everybody has an account. Everybody can see what you're pulling, what you have, and all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
But you'll see accounts there that are just no action. They might have thousands, $100,000 in there, but either the guy died or forgot his
Password?
code. Yeah, his password. So there's exchanges that sell that. Like if you forget your password and you want to sell on pennies on the dollar, you're like, I don't have the password, but here you can have the account. They sell you the account.
Like the abandoned property sort of auction.
Something like that. But you know, you don't have what's it worth to you? You know, until you crack it, and good luck on that.
Well, but you have the issue where, I mean, and I've read this in a bunch of places that the only people that use it for the intent that it was designed for, to use it as an alternative to the traditional banking system, to be free of the Federal Reserve and the chains of
it's
the
really
fees.
all the fees. And what happened? Exchanges were created.
Well, the thing is, the thing is that you have that, but then you have mostly people started buying it because of speculation, in terms of seeing it as an investment product because the price kept rising, and obviously, the more hype it gets, the more people are going to get interested in buying it. All of a sudden, here in Laredo, there's Bitcoin vending machines, like ATMs at gas stations, man.
And there's little techies that there's also another system, and it's here in Laredo.
Yeah.
I bumped into it by accident. that they offer in certain areas of town free Wi-Fi. And
Interesting.
Yeah, and that free Wi-Fi service, you buy the box and everything, and it generates crypto for you by the amount of people that jump on.
Well, no, there's also like a sort of ride sharing service that at the same time, like the people get a device, you get a device and you put it on your car, and it has cameras, and so you're ride sharing it up, but while you are driving people around, the device is filming all of the streets, much like Google Maps. It's an alternative to Google Maps, and the incentive is for all of the square miles or number of blocks, miles of blocks that you map, you get a certain crypto currency amount.
Exchange in crypto. But there's also, a lot of people, the newbies, I tell people, look, you get educated on crypto before you jump in. Cold wallets, hot wallets, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Ask about that, because if your wallet is exposed, a hacker can get in there and get your stuff. If you have your wallet on your computer or whatever, a hacker can compromise your computer and get your code. That's it. All your funds are out. You don't always put remember, it's not FDIC, whatever. So spread out your amounts in different wallets. So if you get one wallet compromised, it's not going to compromise all of them. So there's a lot of stuff you have to do.
Well, but you got to a point where, and FTX is a big example in that it turned out to be sort of like, what's that? The Bernie Madoff scam,
Ponzi.
A Ponzi scheme.
Yeah.
Basically, it will only succeed if you pass on the burden to
and they had all your wallets.
It only succeed if you get more suckers to buy into the game, And so basically, with the price of Bitcoin going up and up and up, and all currencies, Ethereum and all going up and up and up and up, I mean, you buy some and you're guaranteed that in a month, it's going to go from where you bought it, and it keeps rising, it keeps rising, it keeps rising, much like how the Bernie Madoff scam collapsed when the stock market collapsed during the 2008 financial crisis. That was when the water receded, and they found out that there wasn't anything there. And so it just happened with the FTX, in that there was pretty much, I guess, the equivalent of a bank run, when everybody's like, something's up here, give me my money. Well, it's not there.
Yeah,
and that's due to the lack of regulations that is so glorified in the whole techie crypto sphere. Is like, no, we don't have to deal with all those ordinary regulations. But guess what? You got jacked.
Yeah, because mainly what happened is these exchanges formed to help those that didn't really understand crypto. They wanted to invest, but they didn't understand all the crap. So they would be able to provide you the security and all the other stuff and process the service for you, and you would make money. So all these exchanges came out, all these novices that were out there, we're going to make money. We're going to put it. Look, these people are making money. It was all over the place. I mean, you saw the celebrities advertising for this stuff. So
Larry David got sued, man.
Everybody ate it up.
Yeah.
And then when shit hit the fan, hit the fan. But yeah, the exchanges had a big part to do with that, because once everything was exposed, then that's what happened. But it was a lot of people that didn't know what they were doing. They just thought it was an investment. They just jumped on because
that's the
their
thing.
friends told them.
It's seen as an investment instead of, okay, I'm buying another currency that I'm going to do business with. They never saw it as, I'm going to use this other currency to do business with that's outside of the traditional banking sector. And it ended up, the people that actually ended up using it for those purposes are people that hold corporations for ransom, or people that are
it was all used for that.
Drug traffickers.
There's no way to
money laundering. It moves across borders effortlessly.
North Korea was one of the biggest ones. They were hit. The Lazarus Group was insane. If you ever do a search for the Lazarus Group, you'll see how many billions of dollars they've gotten.
They have crazy hackers in North Korea.
Oh yeah, North Korea is.
They invest a lot in that.
One of the top places. They're called what's called state-sponsored hackers, APTs, Advanced Persistent Threats. Sometimes I've had people like, no, I have an APT for me. No. Trust me. You don't have the money. Someone with an APT resources, you would be gone already. They would be able to take care of you easily. But that's usually what large organizations, have to deal with, which is advanced persistent threats. In other words, you're going to get hacked. It's not if. It's when.
We're at that point. I mean, just individuals. I've had problems. I always end up calling you.
I got popped last month.
Oh, really?
Let me tell you how I got popped.
How does somebody like you get popped? I don't think I'm going to be calling you anymore, man.
Okay. This is how I got popped. Okay. So, it was summertime, go to the movies, all the new movies were coming out. And I want to say, if I remember correctly, I think it was Indiana Jones that I went to go see. So,
that's why you got popped.
Yeah, we're not gonna mention theaters or whatever. But I went with my son, my eldest son, and we were watching it and stuff. And we usually we'll take turns. You pay for the movies, I pay for the food. Yeah. And so this time it was my turn to pay for the food. And so we had our pizza, popcorn, whatever they've served there. We had it or whatever. The movie was really good. We were enjoying it. Towards the end of the movie, they come by and what do? Give you the bill, right?
Yeah.
What do? You
give them the card.
Yeah, and then what?
And then you wait for them to run it at the counter, and then they bring it back to you, and you sign the slip, and you take off.
So between the time they took it and the time they came back, you don't know what happened to that card, where it was, or what was going on.
No, man.
Yeah. So if I'm a young kid that wants to make a lot of money without any legal repercussions, getting busted or whatever, because it'd be really hard to bust them or to determine it was them, is that, that night I'm going to collect a bunch of credit cards. I'm going to write down the numbers or scratch it and get the numbers for each one of them with the expiration date, whatever. The end of the shift, I go home, I get on the dark web, I sell all my numbers, boom. It's really easy to make a credit card. You print it out, boom, take it over there, go to wherever. These chargers were coming out of California.
Really?
It was fast food places for like $50. I was like, what? It was, and they chose fast food places that are common everywhere.
But how do you know it was there specifically?
Because I got caught off guard. I rarely give my card away.
Okay.
And I rarely give that card away.
Yeah.
I always give another card, a card that has no numbers.
Oh, I see. Okay.
It's the card you hate.
Interesting.
But the Apple card has no numbers. So I can give that to anybody. You're not going to get anything off of that. Zero. Yeah. There's no numbers on there. So I usually pay with that. But for, I was watching the movie, just got caught off guard, gave my debit card.
Yeah.
Boom, I got popped.
Oh, man.
So I lost about $200, but I called the bank and they refunded my money and everything. It was really good. And they saw that, the hell am I doing in California?
It's impossible.
But they were, they use, why did they use fast food? They use places that swipe. Yeah. The swipe doesn't require the PIN.
Yeah, of course.
So they were doing around $50 to $60 a pop on different restaurants. Yeah. So they could have just been getting either gift cards or whatever they were doing, but that's what they usually do.
What do you think? So do you think that crypto is here to stay? Is it like other than it being an investment sort of speculative boom in terms of like all the bros were getting into investing in Bitcoin and Ethereum, and for the much like you invest in the stock market, like I'm gonna make a killing off this stock, that's what crypto was. Like the tulip craze in the 1700s, where all of a sudden everybody wanted these flowers and they became extremely expensive because everybody wanted a piece of them, or the Bored Apes, what are they called? The NFTs, man.
Non-fungible tokens.
What a bizarre moment.
I remember that very well. A lot of good information security guys that I know personally got
Bored Apes.
Yeah, they got into all that.
Well, what the hell? Like to me, it was bizarre. I'm like, so you bought a JPEG?
You bought a JPEG that anybody else can have.
Yeah.
but it belongs to you, but anybody else can have it. Like, really? Like, what the hell? And it was all kinds of stuff that they were doing.
The first tweet,
they were doing NFTs for everything. And I think, it's stuff like that, if you gather rhythm to it in a tipping point, remember that one I told you about?
Yeah, of course.
Once you generate an interest, and that's the catch. It in my opinion, if crypto ever kicks in again, either someone else has found a way to make it easy to buy crypto, where anybody can buy it, that you don't have to be like a techie or whatever. You can just go and buy it.
Which is what SBF did.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
But now they're going to have to figure out a different way to do that, where it's easy to buy crypto. And if everybody's buying crypto again, there goes the price back up.
Yeah, but at the same time, I mean, so many people lost their money on FTX. I mean, there's tons of people that basically that money's gone. Buddy, you took the risk. It's not FDIC insured. You knew that. You thought you were all hot shit. Now you lost all your money.
How many times has this happened in society? They're going to do it again.
Oh, yeah, man. But do you think it's going to do you think Bitcoin is going to reach the heights that it did?
I think so.
You think so?
It all depends on if someone decides to come up with a way to where it's easy to purchase it.
Yeah.
It's going to create demand again, because that's what the exchanges did.
Yeah, but the serious investors are no longer going to buy into it, knowing that these exchanges, which are based in like the Bahamas,
they'll be assured that their investment is safe. They'll regulation this time around, and blah 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 blah, and so on and so on. And they're going to just jump right back into it.
NFT's dead though, right? Or that to me was just like, whoa, man, what are we up? What are we doing here?
What did you buy? 5 or 10 of the Trump cards? How many did you buy?
7.
Okay, I knew it was somewhere.
He was into the NFT stuff as well. And
$100 a card, I would be too.
Yeah, but that dude like sells locks of his hair, and they'll buy them from him, man. Like it's a movement, which is coming back. Okay, so. And this follows sort of a timeline in tech. Another product that came out, we sort of segued into it, which is cool. Another product that came out in that time span when crypto blew up, NFTs blew up, the Metaverse blew up.
Well, I mean, even the head guy of Meta has already said, "Okay, I screwed up."
Well, I mean, there was an article, I don't remember where, that sort of lumped these phenomena together and said, tech has nothing anymore in terms of just these crazy advances that we were used to, the creation of the internet and the creation of social media, all these big revolutions that changed the way we live, and then we got crypto, NFTs, and the Metaverse. And tech writers were saying, dude, like, that's it. That's the end of the road. Like, and then something happened. And then something just out of left field, like, boom, just shook the world. And that's where we are right now. But let's not get there yet. We're having a lot of fun with these experiments that happen. And I'll tell you, man, I have 2 virtual reality headsets.
The Apple one?
Nah, man, that's like $5,000. I'm talking about the Oculus Quest 2, the soon-to-be Quest 3. And so Mark Zuckerberg, and all his alien wisdom, decided that the next step for tech, the future, was a metaverse, a virtual reality.
It's what he believed.
Universe that was created. He bought this company, Oculus, which were the pioneers in these headsets with the controllers. You put it on, you are in a 3-dimensional world. He created this app called Horizons Worlds, which is his version of the Metaverse. And there were previous versions. VR chat is one of them, one of the most popular. It continues to be very popular. But it's for a certain demographic, for people that are really into tech and stuff like that. And Horizon Worlds, I mean, they made billions of dollars a year. Like, this guy was spending like $9 billion of this publicly traded company's investors' monies in building out this big project, which was everybody's going to be sitting at home with these headsets, and your buddies are all going to be there, and you're going to be playing basketball, and you're going to be. There was a comedy club that I went to. I tried. I really did try to get into it, and I knew a couple of tech friends that would join me, but it was always just a big hassle. The avatars had no legs. It was like if you were.
I know there's a lot of women complaining they were being fondled and stuff like that.
Harassed. Yeah, so that they put bubbles around each avatar for a while. But it's a neat concept, except I could like you wear that thing for like half an hour and then you're like, okay, that's enough. I'm getting sort of nauseous here. But I'll tell you this, man, they created they have this fitness app that they created called Supernatural. And basically, and that's why I have two headsets, because I got really into it, man, because it's just so innovative in that you're standing there. These targets are flying at you and you start punching them, and hooks and uppercuts and jabs and ducking. And that really works in terms of like, that is a very fun way to be very active. I mean, you would finish one of those workouts like drenched in sweat, man. And I still do it almost religiously, man.
That's good, man. I should do it.
Well, I recommend it to everybody. And I think that's where they sort of like, okay, maybe in this field, this technology works. And so much so that this company, Supernatural, the company that owns it, I forget the name of it, Zuck said, I want to buy it. Because people are using it on a daily basis. I mean, they're using this shit a lot more than my fucking Horizon Worlds, which is like a ghost town. But people are really using this and paying it. It's $20 a month.
Did he buy it?
Well, the thing is, it became huge news because the FTC said, no, man, it violates antitrust. You're trying to have a monopoly of this new realm, the metaverse.
So Apple hasn't gone and go knock on their door and said, hey, here's twice the value of what you got. We're just gonna get you out of the way. Well,
the thing is, he ended up buying it. He was able to beat the FTC
good lobbyist
ruling or what they invest a lot of that. So that something good came off it, but I mean, he renamed his company.
Yeah, but then whatever the case, he admitted he had lost crazy amount of money on it, and he admitted it was a mistake.
Yeah.
And I don't know, maybe he did that on purpose because Apple was just going to come out with theirs, and Apple didn't. They kind of cut the umbilical cord on their device too, with funding.
Yeah.
So, who knows what's going to happen with that?
But they still went through with it.
Yeah, they still went. Yeah, because it was already they were almost done with it. So they're like, hey, from what I heard, that they're selling them like at cost just to get them out the door.
Which is still extremely expensive.
Yeah. Apple.
Yeah, everything is expensive. So you had the Metaverse, which was sort of like the nadir. It was like, man, like tech's in really bad shape. All these companies were really
they had big layoffs.
Humongous layoffs. Yeah. Humongous layoffs. Thousands and thousands of people. Stock prices plummeting. All these billionaires losing a big chunk of their net worth. And then boom, ChatGPT comes in the picture, and the rest is history. Big time. I mean, it was just, you did hear that these companies were working on artificial intelligence. You had the sort of like doom and gloomer saying artificial intelligence, the robots are going to kill us all. There should be regulation. You had that DeepMind, which I think was Google's, making some noise. You would hear a lot of this in tech circles.
Yeah, Watson was already out there for a while.
Watson, yeah.
I mean, he's going to be the grandfather.
Yeah,
that we know of.
But there was obviously nowhere near the public in general's perception, awareness of artificial intelligence. Very few people are into what we're just talking about.
Large language models.
Well, yeah. So the vast majority of the world was not really aware of the work being done in artificial intelligence.
Well, there were certain other parts of the world that they're using that as well because they're collecting. It's all about collecting the data.
Well, I mean, you had like the autocompletes, and I mean, algorithms are sort of an artificial intelligence. When Amazon recommends products to you based on your history,
is completely different.
This is on steroids, but I mean, ultimately, it's artificial intelligence when a computer predicts what you're going to most possibly like. Netflix, since you like this kind of stuff, I think you'd like this and this and this and this, right?
Well, what I showed you earlier, have an artificial intelligence write a poem.
Yeah, no, but now it's common knowledge that it's very capable of doing that.
And it passed one of the poets that believed it was a poem.
Well, no, that you showed me a local renowned poet. You decided to wish her a happy birthday in prose.
I used ChatGPT
in poetry
to create a Spanish poem,
and she was very impressed. You showed me the message, and then you sort of, why did you reveal your?
Well, because she's a good friend of mine, and you know, she was like, "Oh my God, I didn't know you could write like this."
You're fucking brilliant.
So and I told her it's ChatGPT, and she's just like, "Oh my God," you know. And if we have the time, I'll tell you another really a true story.
We have unlimited time.
I told you about the story that I ran a test on this.
Yeah.
So I don't know if I told you, but I think I did. I don't remember. Yeah, I have clients left and right that call out. Sometimes I get new clients that call me up. Hey, you know, my husband's computer is locked. I heard you can unlock computers. Blah 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 blah. So I went to this client, brand new client. Met the lady in the front. She's like, my husband's in the back. He has an office back there. So I walk to the back, and I see the computer, and you know, it's a Mac, but it's fully encrypted.
Yeah.
Like he did it the right way, because he's in the medical profession. He's supposed to do that. So I was like, look, one thing is you did it the right way to put in a password and encrypt your data. The bad thing is you forget that password, you're pretty much screwed.
Yeah.
And yes, it'll take me time to crack that password, but I can't tell you, it might take me a week, it might take me 24 hours, it might take me a year, 10 years to crack the password. But, you know, I can just tell you right now that your data's shot. I can't put a new hard, because it firmware the crap out of everything.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, fine. So, and I saw around him, I saw all these pictures, you know, you walk in, and there's a bunch of pictures of, you know, white coats. So I knew he was like medical.
Okay.
So I asked him, hey, so what do you practice? He said, oncology, cancer doctor.
Yeah.
Oncology.
Yeah.
I was like, okay. Well, so my wife was recently, was able to beat cancer. So I said, and I told him, he said, oh, I'll give you as much free advice, second opinion as you want. And I was like, Doc, I have a question. Let's try something. He's like, okay, sure. What do you need? I said, let me give you everything. You know, my wife's had this. She's getting these medicines. They told her this. She's had this. It's cancer-free, blah, blah, blah. She has to be, now they're telling her she has to take the following medicines because of the cancer that she has. She's positive for this and blah, 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 blah. And the doc's like, okay, yeah, but, he goes, but, and I said, but wait, Doc. Now I've given you the history. You're going to give me a response. You're going to tell me I recommend this or that or whatever based on his many years of experience in oncology, right? So hold on, Doc. Let's try something. He's like, what? Let's try ChatGPT. He's like, oh, I've heard of that. I don't know how to trust it. And I was like, all right, let's do this. And his wife was there, and I said, okay, Doc, you know how you can, I have it on the phone, so you know you can hit the mic and then you can speak to it. Right?
Yeah, it just came out on Android months after Apple, man.
I had it on Apple. Yeah. So I clicked, I told the doc, look, I'm going to click on the mic. You're going to tell the symptoms and everything on the patient.
Yeah.
So, and you're going to ask it to give you a prescription or a process or medical procedure or whatever they recommend medically to the patient based on all the symptoms and positive, negative, whatever they've done, right? So he's like, he has the idea because he understands it. So he's like, okay, I'll play along. So I hit the button. He starts dictating to the ChatGPT. Patient has blah, 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 has this procedure done, has this, has cancer-free, but is positive, HER2, positive, negative, all this cancer stuff, right?
Yeah.
So then he finishes and he gives me the phone. I put, stop, whatever. And then I turned the phone to his wife. I said, you press that little arrow that processes it, right? So she pressed it. You know how fast that thing is.
Yeah.
So it pushed out the response, and she said, "Okay, it already gave a response." So I tell him, look to your wife and tell her what you recommend. So he starts recommending stuff, right? His wife just has that Kodak moment.
It's the same exact thing.
She says, it's the same thing. ChatGPT just said what you said, but it said some more stuff. He's like, what do you mean more stuff? So he turns the phone around. He looks at it. He's like, ChatGPT is right. I should have done that too. Because it said that he needed, that she should be tested for BRCA1, whoever knows cancer.
So basically ChatGPT doctored the doctor.
Yeah, and the doc was, and this guy,
to be a cancer doctor, you have to know your stuff, dude.
And I was, and he was just like, oh my God. And I was like, yeah, doc, I tell you, I use it for all kinds of crazy stuff. And, you know, and I've used it for like, whenever I have a client that, you know, we have sensitive data that we're going to be looking at or stuff like that. I tell ChatGPT, hey, I need you to prepare me an NDA valid in the Texas court. Boom. I'm there. Fill in the blanks. It gives me a template and I just fill in the blanks. I can do legal templates for motions. I can do legal templates for a will, all kinds of stuff, man.
But I mean, this is like, we're in the Netscape age of this stuff, meaning we're in the very, 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 very beginning of it.
Yes.
And the quickness that it's moving.
Oh, yes.
In terms of, unlike Netscape, I think that this product, and specifically, the more people use it, and you're talking about it's being used simultaneously by millions of people around the world at the same time.
Giving it more and more information.
Exactly. Yeah. How we ask questions, how we think, how we reason, and we're feeding, and it's learning. It's all going to the centralized location, the same location where it was trained. And literally, I mean, the training was, they fed it absolutely every piece of text available.
Mostly, in a lot of ways, bias was in there also. I don't know if you've seen that.
Well, they're talking about it right now.
Well, I've seen it. I've seen it in action.
well, they're talking about it right now, and we'll get to that because it's very fascinating. But basically, it's like every book ever written, every website ever posted, published, every social media comment, Twitter, every tweet.
Up to 2021.
Yeah,
unless you do the new ChatGPT one. They've updated to 4.5. I think
really?
Yeah, but you have to pay. You have to pay for that one.
Well, I'm at the paid one.
Okay, so you should be more updated than 2021. I think. Well, 3.5 was up to 2021.
Well, now it searches the web.
Oh yeah.
You ask it something, you have to enable the search the web feature, and you see it. I'm visiting these websites. It's looking for your answer. You have it writing computer programs.
Some nice stuff that it can do.
Well, one of the first one of the big things that they say is that it's going to replace jobs.
Oh yeah.
And I mean, you just think of the people that actually took the time to learn coding, and paid schools to be taught coding. Now all of a sudden, this thing is like, write me a program that does this and this and this and this and this, and it'll spit it out for you in seconds. I mean, what does that portend for the rest of the jobs out there, and what does that mean for just for everything, man? I mean, it's
remember, it's just like every other. It's another tool, and the tool has the good side of it and the bad side of it.
Yeah.
So, like I was telling you, like back in the day when you would get phishing emails, you could usually tell it's phishing email because the spelling or the grammar was off.
Yeah.
Now they use ChatGPT to produce the email, so now it's perfect, tailored to your specific area.
Oh, you have. I was reading an article. This is big right now. You know the CAPTCHAs?
Yeah.
The ones that click all the squares that have a bus, a school bus.
ChatGPT can take care of that easily.
Well, the thing is, and I've lived it, in that they're getting way harder. I was trying to log on to was it Discord, one of those Steam one of those things, for gaming, and it was impossible, man. I'm like, why is it so hard, man? Like, it didn't used to be this hard.
Well, hackers are starting to use the captchas also to make sure that whoever they sent it to, they're not receiving a bot response as well. So they input the captcha into their malicious website that looks like the website you want to go to. So you fill out the captcha. Now they know it's a human filling it out, and then they can monitor you from there.
Well, the reason why they're getting harder is because artificial intelligence is being used. Well, I mean, okay, the big sort of example that made everybody just freak out was an experiment where AI contacted one of those task websites. You didn't hear about that? TaskRabbit, or one of those websites where you could get people to do stuff for you, like. So they asked GPT to do something, and ChatGPT was like, okay, to do it, it had to get past the CAPTCHA. And it messaged one of these people and said, I need to you to do this for me. And that it asked that, okay, but why can't you do it? It's like, oh, I'm visually impaired.
Which it is.
Which it is. I'm visually impaired. He's like, oh, okay, so he did it for him. And so the people freaked out. They're like, holy crap, in terms of how it reasoned, like in terms of like, this is the goal, and I'm going to do anything I need to do to get to it. And that is the concern of unleashing this kind of technology into the world, in that if you task it with something, it's going to think of ways to do it that you probably did not think of, and it doesn't really know the difference between right and wrong, in terms of, it's like, no, I shouldn't be doing it this way.
There's some parts where it's been trained about right and wrong, and it has, their safety's been built in, it's been proven. There's rumors about that safety thing, that it's done some strange things, but it's just. That's a scary thing. Right now it doesn't have eyes yet.
Yeah.
I'm saying yet. Can you imagine when this thing gets eyes?
It's interesting, man. My interactions with it, I'm like,
its eyes are going to be cameras.
Oh yeah, there's cameras everywhere, and it just has to like log into the millions of cameras around the world, man.
Yeah.
Well, now the issue is like Zuckerberg wants to make it open source, in terms of like everybody can download their language, their large language model.
Well, they have the APIs already
that
available.
Facebook is working on. So basically, anybody can build their own version of ChatGPT and feed it whatever it wants and give it the instructions and deploy.
And they are already doing it.
Deploy it in any way they want.
Yeah, they're already doing it. The API is already out there, and like that thing that I showed you earlier on the interior design that blew your mind away.
Jesus Christ, man.
So that the APIs are already out there.
Well, you had that famous picture of the Pope wearing a Balenciaga overcoat, looking real cool. Remember that one? And tons of people just did not know it was fake.
Yeah, the deepfakes are going to take a whole new level with this.
This upcoming election is going to be interesting in terms of how they use AI just to.
Yeah, it's just, it's if they use this, it's social media that needs to be careful with this, because if they use the same tactic they used the last time, which is, like I said earlier, groups want to obtain what they're called human bots.
Yeah.
So I do a page like yesterday, Patriots for whatever, Patriots for dogs, whatever, you know what I mean? Something that's a general interest based on all the knowledge that I have, the OSINT, that says the people you want to target that will share the images you're going to put in and all this stuff. These people, all they do is share stuff all the time. And the users on social media, there's certain users that all they do is share stuff. They see something, oh, look at that picture, share it. It could be fake. There's been times, I've chatted with friends of mine in the past, which is kind of useless, because sometimes they'll put stuff that they believe is really real because they see the photo, they see this, and they see that. And then I show them, I'll do, I don't know if you're familiar with ThinEye, when you can do image, you can do an image to determine where the image is originally from. Yeah. Go to thineye.com. you can check your images to determine where they're coming from. So there was one friend of mine one time put like a picture, I think one of the floods in Florida or whatever, and patriots were helping with the flood victims or whatever. And they put a picture, they start off with a picture,
of course, yeah,
and a little story, blah, blah. It's always a story. It's never really a fact. So, and I was like, look, this is fake, man. You're a target. They're wanting you to share it. No, this is real, blah, blah, blah. So, and I showed them the stuff, and I showed them, and I proved it. And they agreed. They're like, okay, it's fake. Doesn't matter. I still agree with the message.
Well, the intent is there, and I'll give you an example. And this has nothing to do with AI, but in terms of somebody shared an image of some riots. It's like, this is what they're doing in Portland, the Black Lives Matter, and you're like, that's doesn't seem correct. That's way too rowdy. That doesn't seem correct. There was a police officer that had a vest with like a yellow stripe, a very distinctive sort of uniform. And I was like, okay. And I'm like, this guy's an idiot. He's probably sharing an image that has nothing to do with it. And sure enough, man, I did a little search.
It's called a reverse image search.
But police. And it turns out that they were from 5 years ago from these crazy riots in Paris, man.
Yeah.
And they're sharing it to get a political point across. Like, look how messed up this is. And they have no idea. I mean, the vast majority of the people that saw it believe it.
Oh, yeah.
No questions asked. No questions asked.
The typical way you do this, it's a simple formula. Everybody uses the same thing. You go find a stock picture of Keanu Reeves. Yeah. And then you type in whatever you want him to say.
Yeah.
On the side, and you post it on your Facebook. This is what Keanu Reeves said, and I quoted him. Like, really? And people eat it up.
But he sort of preys on this sort of primitive instinct of ours, just to go with it, go with the information that we see. And political actors are very sophisticatedly using.
Yeah, and it's going to start up again. It's going to start up again. I monitor, because of my friends, and trust me, my friends are like, they're telling me, what did I do now? They're always like, what did I do now? Because I'll tell them, hey, you just got dinged on this, because they're sharing stuff and then I'll bring it up to them. And now it gets to the point where, a lot of times they'll thank me. It's like, thanks, I'm an idiot, but, or, thanks for helping me out, or whatever, right? So the latest ones, like I said, are usually the ambulance right now. If you'll see a wreck and your friend you'll never guess who got hit. Yeah. The other thing is like the kid with the dog. This child has whatever sickness and lost his dog, and they'll put a photo, and we're looking for him in Laredo, and they'll put hashtag Laredo, hashtag pets, hashtag and everything, specifically targeting the area. All you got to do is like, okay, obviously it gets your attention, and you read the story and it makes sense. Click on the person that posted it, the original one, and look at when that account was created. Yeah. A day ago, today, 2 days ago.
Yeah, definitely.
Like, come on, you're getting scammed. But, who's going to take the extra effort to do that? It's easier just to share it.
Of course. I mean, it's sort of an epidemic, man, in terms of just.
But if you share it, who got played?
Fake information. You did.
Yeah, you did. And now all your friends are getting played.
Oh yeah, and it goes viral, and you achieve what the original intent.
You're a human bot.
You're a human bot. Yeah, that's correct.
So in hackers' term, hackers are always like saying, well, I have 3,000 machines I've infected, and I can use them at any time to send what is called DDoS attacks.
The denial of service.
Yes, denial of service. Yeah. So I want to, gamers do that a lot. Like if you're gaming and you're yakking with someone, it's like, and you want to get rid of that guy, well, you can get his IP and then just tell the bots, hey, knock him out. And that's a service also, bot, denial of service as a service, or, they do that. So you subscribe to that service, say, hey, knock this IP out. Yeah. Boom, knocks him out.
When you say social engineering, you've used it a lot. I sort of think I know what you're talking about, but can you elaborate?
Social engineering.
Yeah.
Social engineering in the pen testing world.
In the what?
In the pen testing, like to test or hackers or whatever.
Yeah, okay.
Security, cyber.
So basically like a test of like your cybersecurity health?
It is another tool.
Okay.
It is the tool to be able to access or gain access to an authorized area.
Yeah.
I'll give you an example. Walmart hires me to test their security. I'm like, okay. And Walmart in McAllen on this street. Okay, well, I'm not there. What do I do? First thing.
You try to infiltrate it.
No. Open source intelligence. Google Maps. How many interests? Who works there? Going to Facebook. Who works there? Try to get employee names. Go into that area. I need to find out everybody that works in Walmart in McAllen. Go create a McAllen Walmart unionized whatever fake group, so everybody joins. Boom, 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 boom. Now I got a list of people who works there. All right, so now I'm looking at their photos. I'm looking at all this stuff, and then I find Sergio, who just migrated from Matamoros, new immigrant. His parents just died, but he got a job at Walmart. And what did he do? He posts on social media his tag, his identification tag. My parents would be proud of me today.
Yeah, okay.
I go, I see that tag, boom, get it, change it with my picture and everything. Have my friend call their HR person, because we know who the HR person, because she's on social media too. Yeah. What does she do? She helps unmarried young girls who are pregnant. So I tell Maria, hey, come over here, I need some help. I need you to pretend you're an unmarried pregnant girl, whatever. We know that they have through open source intelligence, we found out that HR, they're gonna remodel their offices, so they're gonna send an interior designer. You're gonna pretend you're gonna be the interior designer. She said, no, I got a better one. I said, okay, let her go. So she calls and she said, hey, they're going next week. And then the HR person says, no, you guys always call 2-3 months before you make a plan. We can't just schedule you. We have things to do. And then the Maria says, well, I'm sorry. It's because I'm 8 months pregnant. It passed. I've been totally stressed. Oh, the HR person that we already socially engineered. Tell her, hey, no problem. Come. You're more than welcome to come by or whatever. And we'll be here for you. Just come by and show your information. So she comes by, corporate. She shows the badge. When she gets there, it's the same girl that called. She shows the badge that we got from the guy that was proud to be his, first generation American working. And we get that. And then she walks in, she shows her badge. I'm from Walmart. Here's my badge. We called you. Oh, yes. We're okay. How is Emily doing with her? Oh, she's about going to be able to deliver next month. Things are working out. Whatever you told her, it helped and all this. Oh, okay. Thank you. Again, plug in there. She goes, she plugs in the USB to the computer. At that point, she sends a text to the guys, the wizards. Boom, 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 boom. We're already in. We're extracting everything.
And so, okay, when you think of hackers, you think of someone in a dark room somewhere just going on the keyboard, like just keyboarding it up. I didn't think that there was such an actual physical aspect to it.
Oh, yeah. It's sometimes a big team, dude. There's some crazy stuff. When you listen to more of that Darknet Diary, it's going to blow your mind.
I'm going to. It is blowing my mind.
Yeah, because there's sometimes when you go into a facility, and, let's just say it's a high-level facility, top 5 corporation on a research facility. They've hired you to get into the research facility, right? You get into the research facility because you wait. It's like, okay, when can I get in?
And these are groups that you find on the dark web,
these are people. They're legit pen testers. They're hired by the company.
Oh, okay. Well, these are the guys that work on
to get in,
identifying your weakness.
Yeah, they identify the weakness. But sometimes, sometimes what has happened, and they remember the scope, everything has to come into play. When those individuals get in there, sometimes there's been times when they get in, and yes, we got in. This is your thing, but that's not your worst thing. Because when we got in, we saw the Chinese people in there too.
Whoa.
So they get to see other people that they didn't even know were already in there. So it's like, what?
And how do you find that out?
Well, because when you're into a system, when you're hired to do it legally with permission, you get into the system and you can see stuff.
Yeah.
And then when you see other stuff that's like, wait a minute, what's this doing here?
Like, give an example.
You can find code, malicious code, an app that shouldn't be there that has a signature that has been made by a certain, advanced persistent threat group that uses that same signature. So that's why sometimes a lot of Russians, what they do when they do the hack, they'll use the Chinese code to kind of divert
Throw
the
'em
blame
off the scent.
to Chinese, but it was really the Russians, and vice versa and stuff like that.
So so you guys have sort of like a list of groups that you study, and you know, like their tales, like how they operate, their digital signatures.
They do certain things, certain codes and stuff like that.
Do they have specific methods that they use that you could identify?
Yeah, we know they do it this way and this way, and usually after they do this, they go here.
Yeah.
So we know what group this is. Fancy Panda, this is whatever.
Gucci Bear.
Yeah, whatever.
That was the famous one.
They have all
Gucci
kinds,
fur.
every kind of name. Yeah. And then they obviously have the other names, which is APT 24, APT 26, APT. They have numbers associated to them.
And those are the guys that get hired by malicious actors.
The APTs are mainly state sponsored.
State sponsored.
Yeah.
Okay.
Those are specifically targeting, and do not stop.
In defense.
Just boom, 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 boom. Just keep going. Oh, they busted up. Okay, try it again. We'll do it this way, and don't stop until we get in.
They get corporate secrets, industrial complex, like military.
I tell some of my clients here, like, let's just say you have a financial firm, a CPA.
Yeah.
Right? Well, the same thing happens. They get into the CPA. Oh, this was a CPA, a lot of financial stuff.
Yeah.
Let's protect him, make sure he's fine, he's happy, nothing ever happens to him, because we're going to get all his clients.
Oh, okay. Espionage.
No, it's a launching point, the watering hole. That's our watering hole. We wait for the clients to come in. Hey, he has this client that has so much money. Let's jump on this. We infect the file that they're exchanging files, accounting software, or whatever that they're sending to each other. I'll infect that file. It goes back to his system. It calls me. I'm already in. I just ransomware the shit out of him.
Jesus Christ, man. Yeah, in DEF CON, you had the head of the United States Cybersecurity Department. The interim head of the cybersecurity. I didn't even know there was a cyber. I mean, it's
a whole new department that
Biden
that created. And
really?
It's a whole brand new one, and she's I can't remember the exact name of the agency.
But it's under the Department of Defense?
No, it's its own department, dude. It's not under Department of Defense. It's like its own.
Oh wow! Its own agency.
Its own agency. She works with CISA, DoD, DISA, Geospatial. If you ever heard of that one, you might want to research that one.
So so they are just basically a very sophisticated group of cybersecurity experts that are looking out for the infrastructure and computer networks.
They're working on policies to basically make sure that the agents follow the policies. Like NIST is a very familiar one. NIST, which is for government policies on all kinds of stuff, and cyber's in there.
That's fascinating, man.
Oh yeah, it's crazy. And there's cyber certifications that specifically deal with that. That you have to study, and once you get that, you're certified to do that. And the cyber certs are global. So if you get a cyber cert, it's a global certification you can use in any country.
There's a lot of talk about the new age of warfare and how cyber warfare is a big component of that, and it sort of makes sense. I mean, if we're being cyber attacked, the city is us individually, then you should assume that it's a big part of warfare. But how exactly?
The ones that are happening right now, like the ones you mentioned, those are mainly for financial.
Yes, money.
But if you really want to talk about, cyber warfare, the cyber war and stuff like that, we have a perfect example right now. We have Ukraine.
Yes.
And Russia, right?
Yeah.
If this cyber warfare, like, Russia wanted to destroy the power grid just not too long or whatever of Ukraine, right?
Yeah.
Why didn't they why couldn't they do it with cyber warfare?
I don't know.
Because they just couldn't. They used missiles instead.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's a lot less expensive to do cyber warfare than sending out missiles that cost crazy amount of money.
Of course.
So there was a big talk about that. It's like, everybody gloom and doom, cyber warfare. It's a possibility, but one of the big players, Russia, was unable to utilize that to disable the infrastructure in Ukraine.
But was it because Ukraine was prepared for it, or?
Well, Ukraine had had some of the best hackers in the world before all this happened. As in ransomware gangs.
Oh, okay.
So when all this happened, everything flipped. They're like, okay, no more ransomware for you guys. We need you guys defending the shit out of, because Russia's coming at us left and right.
You need to fight for your country.
Yeah, they flipped it around and they had to come in. And of course, all the other countries helped out to help secure the network. And because at first they had some issues, but then they hardened the network and that's a lot better now.
Well, now also Elon Musk's Starlink came in the picture.
Yeah, well,
right?
Starlink was a problem because what happened is that you would have these individuals get into Starlinks and then Starlink inadvertently advertise your exact location.
Oh, wow.
So it's, oh, yeah, I got to bomb that one. I know where he's at. Boom. Had exact coordinates of where you were broadcasting from.
But basically it did happen. It just, both sides were competent and Ukraine was able to fight off the attempts.
With assistance from other countries and so on, but
including us, obviously.
Yeah. But that just proves that this notion of cyber warfare, at least from Russia, has not gotten to the point where it can't be defended against.
Yeah.
China and other countries, who knows? But as for Russia, in my opinion, we're still okay.
But it is a thing in terms of countries should build up their cyber defense capabilities.
Yeah, the ones that are, because just recently, several Caribbean countries got hit financially with ransomware because they don't have the resources.
Of course.
I mean, I think it was Dominican got hit a couple of times, and the guy from the Dominican was able to work with one of the other Caribbean countries where they worked together, and they shared, what was going on. And that's the problem, Sergio. That's the major problem that we see in cyber. When people get hit, ransomware and stuff like that, because financially they don't want to tell anybody. Yeah. But that's the problem, because if you don't tell, we don't know what's happening and see the patterns to be able to address them. Yeah. And I think it was 2 years ago, the state passed something for all the public education institutions. Yeah. They have to have a cyber person now. And there's a website that tells you all the breaches and stuff like that. Well, some of that website, they have a couple of breaches already, but then all of a sudden they stopped. Why the hell do you stop reporting? We need to know, but it might look bad for the taxpayers. I'm like, no,
That's fascinating.
The way they wrote it, and I remember reading the legislation, the bill or whatever they put, was that you have to now, every public school district in Texas has to have a dedicated cyber person that reports directly to the superintendent.
Okay.
Direct. You don't go to the head of IT. You don't go, no.
It's that big of a
boom, right there to him. That's state mandate.
Yeah.
Right? What I've seen school districts do, you're under the assistant to the assistant director of IT. I'm like, what?
Yeah. They're not giving him the prominence that it
because
deserves.
Cyber is not IT. There's IT, OT, and cyber. OT, operational tech, the gas, all the crazy railroad stuff. That's operational technology that runs.
And then IT is like all the LAN networks.
Information technology.
Yeah.
So that's IT. I can plug a
all
computer.
All the Ethernet cabling through all the walls, hooking all with a mainframe.
Your printer doesn't work. Let me go over there. Your computer,
that's
I need
IT.
A hard drive. I need a program. Okay, software, blah, 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 blah. All that. Yeah. All that is IT.
Yes.
Those are the IT guys, your geek squads.
Yeah.
Boom, 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 boom. Your director of IT is a manager of that.
But I mean, you're talking about a lot of these administrators just see that's technology, that's computers. and a guy who installed your printer should be able to defend against a cyber attack from Russia.
This guy's my best SQL programmer. He can take care of everything. He's my best guy. I'm like, no, no.
He designed our website, so
he knows this. No, they have no experience in this.
Yeah.
In proactive or defensive, nothing. They have no concept of it. You tell someone, like programmers, they're like, I do programs, I know code. Well, in cyber, there's what's called DevSecOps, Developer Security Operations. When the program comes out, and all big companies do that, the program comes out, this guy wrote it, you have to go in there and find how I can exploit it.
Yeah.
So he can make corrections so someone else on the outside doesn't exploit the software, and that's another part of cyber.
are all the entries basically trying to jack someone's password, or because you see movies, man, and like you see them like I'm in, and you just see like the green code, like, and they're
I mean it's for drama. Yeah, I understand, but
basically it's trying to jack someone's password, or
well, it just depends.
Through their Hotmail.
It depends on the group. If it's just what's the term? Kitty scripters. I think it's script kitties, or script kittens, or whatever. Those are people that have some knowledge of how to hack, and they're able to hack into it and get stuff. We call them script kiddies because they're new and they have the tools, they understand how to use it, they can apply it. And those are the ones that usually go after, hey, I want to change my grades. Or this person messed me up, I'm going to watch his cameras or whatever, I'm going to see everything. Never put cameras inside the house, always outside.
Okay, and I want to get to that.
Yeah. Those are script kiddies. To get into your Wi-Fi, I have a Wi-Fi protected network, blah, blah, blah. No, I can get into any Wi-Fi network.
Oh, that's good to know. You're never coming to my house.
I don't even have to.
You're going to be parked outside.
Yeah, exactly. I don't even need to be inside your house.
True.
I can get in. I don't even need to be in the same city to get in.
But okay, you hear the nightmare scenarios where like, oh, there was a guy spying on one of those baby monitors. Yeah. I mean, is that real, and is that a big problem?
Yes, because I mean, remember, here's an example of what I'm showing. And I think I've told you about this, and we'll share it with the audience on this. There's a website called Have I Been Pwned? PWND.
PWND, like
that's
pond,
like pond, but it's a hacker term that we've pwned you, we own you, because we've
POWNED.
PW, take out the O.
Okay.
PWND. Have I been pwned?
Have I been PWND? Okay, everybody write that down.
Okay, so this website, you go into this website, you enter your email address. It's totally safe. Yeah. It's created by a security expert, a well-known one. You put in your email address in there, and it'll tell you all the websites your accounts have been hacked in.
Oh, wow.
All of them.
Oh, man.
Oh, yeah.
I'm scared to look.
No, so here comes the rabbit hole again. Okay. So you go into here, all your accounts that have been hacked are going to be listed. Yeah. And you're going to be able to see, oh, shit, yeah, I have an account here, and I have an account here, and I have an account there. And what happens? A hacker, those accounts have been breached. You always hear about this breach, that breach, millions of accounts, blah, blah, blah. So those accounts get into the dark web, and then they're sold. So I go, it's like, oh, okay, I'm going to buy this. And I find your name. I don't know who you are, where you're at. You're one of them. Yeah. And it says, okay, Sergio, whatever your email is, Sergio.mora at whatever, and your password. So I know your login because it's your email. Yeah. I know your password, whatever. So here I can exploit you in multiple ways.
Well, I mean, if you use that password for one website, you probably use it for.
Yeah. If you use the same password for multiple, that's how they do it. Yeah. They use the same password for multiple sites. Exactly. So now let's just say
just because it's easier.
Yeah, because it's easier.
Convenient. You're not trying to remember 40 passwords.
So as soon as I have that, I'm going to go. I see your email address. Yeah. This is Gmail. Let's see if Sergio used that same password in Gmail. I get your email address. Yeah. It's over. I control you if I have your email. That's it. You're
pwned. You're pwned.
I can change all your accounts because I forgot my account. Sends it to your email account. I reset your. I can reset your email. Should be your most difficult, unique password you can get. Email number one. That you start there. Your primary email, the one that's associated with most of your accounts. And then after that, just set up two-factor authentication for everything. It's a pain in the butt, but what is it? It's a pain in the butt for hackers.
I use it ever since you told me one day, very sternly.
Two-factor. Yeah. Two-factor everything. Two-factor is your friend. You see two-factor, 2FA, that's two-factor. That's what you should do. MFA, even better. FIDO cards, that goes into...
You lost me, yeah, I'm at two-factor.
That's a whole other level. But... Here's okay. So remember the good side and the bad side, right? So I've told you, yes, you can go in there. Remember that Ashley Madison hit?
Yeah.
Okay. How do you think a lot of people found out their husbands were on it?
There was a leak, no?
Well, there was a leak, but how did they find out?
I don't know.
I went to Have I Been Pwned? I typed in my husband's email address, and boom, he came out.
Oh man.
He had an account there. So in that sense, it's like when those crazy wacky sites get hit, or even whatever, if your account, I tried it. You use different passwords for different accounts, right? Yeah. So I wasn't able to hit you anywhere. I'm like, okay, but you're still worth it to me. I can still exploit you. I have your email address. So I'll go in and just say one of the websites was kind of wacky that you were in there, you created an account or whatever, or just make up something. I'll do a bot to write emails to every email that I have there, and it's going to send emails saying, hey, I saw that you created an account here and I saw your pictures and all this stuff. If you don't want me to, and here's your password, because I have your password and it shows it. I can prove that I got in, but I didn't, but I have your password.
I've heard of it.
Yeah, exactly. And then you're like believing it. It's like, oh shit, how much do I have to pay you?
People like have committed suicide.
Yeah, exactly.
Because
yes,
yeah, man.
They committed suicide because that, and it was just based on a data leak.
That's wild.
Yeah, there's just so many ways to exploit it. They figure out all kinds of ways to exploit it.
Okay, you have done the terrifying. You have terrified us. How do we fight? How does, I mean, antivirus software. Like which one would you recommend?
Look,
I mean, there's McAfee. There's Avast. There's Malwarebytes. I mean, those are just a handful of the ones that I've used along the years. My new computer came loaded with McAfee, but then I heard he's sort of a nut job. And
here's my take on that. Okay, so yeah. I have a really interesting take on it because coming from the security side.
Yeah.
Okay, for us, like we learned this, we're taught this, we're certified to do this. Yeah. To be able to exploit a system, I can create a virus using an existing virus. You know how the virus signature or whatever? Mm-hmm. That's how the antivirus looks for these signatures to determine, hey, you got a virus, because it's based on the signature that we found here, blah, or whatever, reported, right? But I can grab that virus and change some code in there so it has a different signature. Yeah. And then your antivirus won't pick it up.
Okay.
So and I can still do all kinds of crazy stuff to you. But usually what I tell people is like, look, Windows has been more proactive in regards to virus and malware.
It has its own like Windows Defender. Or
yeah,
like that, right?
I think it's Defender or something. And now with Windows 11, they're coming out with something totally new.
Okay.
So they're improving on that. So I recommend
staying with that,
enabling it, because it reduces what's called bloatware. All the other ones, you're going to have
machine.
Yeah, they throw all kinds of crap on your browser, and they're
man, I just saw that. I was telling you, I got a new computer, a desktop, and immediately like it started giving little check marks on each link in each website. It's like, I don't think I went in and disabled that.
So now they're tracking all your website stuff, and they're being able to sell that data.
Okay.
So you read the fine print, you'll find it.
And so they do that? Like the antivirus companies do that?
Definitely, especially the free ones. That's how they're making money.
Okay.
So I usually just tell people, keep it simple as much as you can. Use what's built into the software. For the Apple, I favor Apple. Yeah. I usually, worst case scenario, I'll throw Malwarebytes, the free one. Yeah. Throw it in there, do the manual checks, and you'll be fine.
So that's the one you would go with?
Yeah, because it's free. It's and I remember the original author of that one. It used to be one that he did, and then he sold it to Malwarebytes, and then Malwarebytes just took off. Okay. But the original author of that made pretty good money off of this thing because he got bought out. But he did it, as open source. He was giving it free. Yeah. So I don't know if he tied that in when he sold the company, but now Malwarebytes gives you the free version and then the paid version. The free version does everything that the paid version does except scheduling. You have to manually run the scans yourself, but you'll still get all the updates and everything, but you have to run the scans yourself. That comes in handy. For me, sometimes, like if I get a client that calls me, hey, my mouse is moving without me messing with it, I'm like, all right, let me go see what's going on. I can get into the system and look at the innards of all the code and say, okay, let me see on a baseline of what comes with the system, what you've installed, and then I can come in and say, okay, what's this thing doing? And I'll put a monitor and I'll be monitoring what's going out, what's coming in. If I see something odd, boom, that comes out. So I that's the part where the cyber certifications, knowledge, experience comes in, that I can see code and see, okay, something's wrong here. This isn't right. And then dig into that. So like, I'll give you a story of, I have clients that hire me to make sure that, because they have to meet regulations, and they'll tell me, I have to monitor my network. I need, IDS, intrusion detection systems, and blah, 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 blah. So what I do is I'll tell them, okay, based on, cost, how level do you want it? Zero trust or, trust and verify and blah, blah, blah. So sometimes some of my clients will say, okay, monitor it, whatever. And at first it's really hard, because let's just say you have a example is a firm that you have a lot of old school guys are there, and, a couple of young ones. The young ones are a little easier. They kind of understand what's going on. The old ones are like, ah. So what happens is that I monitor the network. It sends me to my phone, something's going on, something came in, someone connected. Yeah. And I have what is called a baseline. Only these systems are allowed to get in here. The rest of them, anybody comes in, a visitor, they jump on the guest. Yeah. They never jump on your main one. Zero trust. I don't care who they are. They came from the feds. It doesn't matter. They go into the guest. Yeah. It doesn't matter. Everybody goes to the guest. So one time, and one of my clients, the lady that we make arrangements, if they're going to have a tech come in to install whatever, she had to go to the hospital. So she couldn't call me to tell me that they were switching their internet phones to a new phone. So we had the AT&T service guy show up with a whole bunch of phones, and then he goes with his computer, that's a network computer, to diagnose, to program the phones and all that. He plugs into the network, and I got a notice. What the hell's this? So then I reach out to her. I can't reach her. I'm like, that's it. I go into attack mode. Yeah. So I attack the AT&T guy, his computer. I locked the shit out of it.
You bricked his
I locked him out. I started to see, what are you doing? Who are you? Where'd you come from? I started getting everything, because I wanted to understand, who is this person? Let's lock him out. Let's steal all his data so we can prosecute later, right? So just went after him in a very aggressive attack. Uh-huh. So I think he freaked out. Like, he's like, what the hell? I can't even get in my computer. Once I had already got in, even if we plugged off the network, that program was just gathering data, locking him up, So he's like freaking out. So he goes up to the other lady that was there, and she said, my computer, I plugged it in, trancó, blah. He calls tech support, his support. No, I don't know what the hell you did. So then the lady says, she remembers the second lady. She's like, oh my God, I forgot. And she's like, we forgot what? It's like, we have a guy that monitors our network. Anything that comes in that is not ours, that we control it, he sees, he attacks viciously. Man. So he's like, what? So then they call me, hey, let go of that computer. Hey, there's a technician from AT&T here. So I'm like, oh crap, let me go over there. So I had to go over there, and I knocked out the code so he can get back in the computer. And he's like, nobody told me. I was just coming to install phones and whatever. And his AT&T people are like, nobody told us you had a guy over there. And they got into a big old scandal.
I think that the industry, sort of, people are aware of, hey, you might get hacked. It's a big thing. You read about it in the news. But at the same time, do people get sold on a bunch of crap they don't need?
Oh, yes.
For example, virtual private networks. You see ExpressVPN or VPNs this, VPN now. Now Google gives you the option to activate their own VPN. But I mean, I have Google Fiber. Like, should I use Google VPN to? Is it just a gimmick that they're selling you?
VPNs are the true use for a VPN is if you're in a network that's not yours.
Okay.
If you go to Starbucks, connect to their Wi-Fi. You go to the hotel, connect to the Wi-Fi, then jump on the VPN.
Okay.
Establish a VPN connection. That's why, because if you jump into a public network, if you jump into a network that's public, I can see you. Like, if I'm there, I'll see I can get into your machine. I get everything. If you're not on a VPN.
If I'm sitting at Starbucks without.
DEF CON, we were all hacking everybody. You would end up in the wall of sheep. Bunch of Geek Squad people that had no idea what was going on. They had their Wi-Fi and Bluetooth on. They all got hacked. They had their password, everything.
So basically, people that travel a lot and are at cafes a lot.
You want a VPN. In that sense, I understand that. Now, in a malicious sense, privacy sense.
Do I need it? Like, if I'm just at my apartment?
If you're at your apartment, no. But if you're doing something malicious, Those are the people that are doing VPNs because they don't want to be tracked. But if you go with a VPN that is owned by a U.S. corporation or whatever that keeps logs, that's when you're looking at, if you want to be completely anonymous, VPN is what's used. But if the VPN provider keeps logs, you're not anonymous.
Okay, how about the anonymous mode on the browsers? Are they really anonymous?
Anonymous mode, no. The big thing with no, because you're not anonymous. Because remember, if you're at home and you're using the web, if you look at your settings, there's always TCP/IP, blah blah blah. You have something called a DNS, domain name server. That's what translates the IP address to a name. Google.com is actually an IP address, but the DNS translates.
It's like three numbers, period, three numbers, period, exactly. 3 numbers, then 2 numbers or something like that.
They have the IP6, IP4. But what it does, it translates the numbers and sends you to the right address because that phone number is associated with Google. Okay, it takes you to Google. And who does that? Your service provider, Spectrum, AT&T, or whatever. Their DNS servers are the ones that send you to different, because you're one of their clients, right? You're a DNS, right? Well, that DNS creates a log. All your traffic, everywhere you've been, everywhere you go, what you like, whatever, it's creating a log. It's based on your IP, your account. So I know that Sergio likes to go to this all the time and spends a lot of time here and all this, and they sell that data to data brokers.
Got it.
Marketing, right?
Yeah.
So if you follow that site that we do, one of the things you can do is change your DNS. The free one, the DNS, if you want to use if you get into your DNS router, change it, or DNS on your computer, you can change it to, instead of 192 whatever it has, the DNS, change it to 1.1.1.1.
Yeah, but that's too technical.
I know. But for those who may understand,
I'll just use VPN. Maybe.
Well, but VPN still has logs. Depends on the provider.
Even
if the VPN still has logs, those logs are sold also. Or if you're trying to remain anonymous on illegal activity, any government, federal government agencies can get in their server warrant to get the logs based on that and then determine where the hell you were. And then there's other ones like the Signal app. Well, there's VPNs that keep no logs. So when they're served with a warrant, it's like, we don't keep a log. I mean, it's just there.
When it's encrypted end-to-end is the new.
Yeah,
WhatsApp has used it for a while, but Facebook, all of a sudden, Messenger's giving you the option to turn on encrypted.
And that's
what are the odds of your Facebook Messenger being hacked?
Well, that's where it comes in. Like, let's just say you're in a public network, or I'm in your same network, and I want to see the traffic. If it's not encrypted, I can see it.
But you could see the actual messages?
Yeah, I can see a message. I can see emails. I can see passwords. I can see everything. It's all data capture. There's software that's used for that, Wireshark.
But you but you have to be. It has to be someone sophisticated, someone like you, someone.
Yeah, it has to be someone that's like. But that's the problem that most people, like in this podcast or whatever you want to call it. Many people from this area did not know that someone with my skill set was among them.
That is completely correct.
You know what I mean? And I'm not a bad guy. I work for the good guys. I help educate people on this, and I hope this educates a lot of people.
Of course, it's helping me a lot.
Yeah, but it's just that it's that easy. Now the encryption. End-to-end encryption means that I cannot intercept the message while it's in transit because it's encrypted. But if I get the device in one end or the other end, I can get it.
If you hack into the end device.
So right? A little plus on my Apple thing again.
I'm not going to Apple, dude.
I know.
Like, you could try.
Everybody that texts on an Apple, when you see your texts, if the texts are blue, they're encrypted. If they're green, you're texting an unencrypted Android person.
Very fascinating.
Yeah. So just know that all your texts that are in blue, they're encrypted. All the ones that are in green are unencrypted.
So what? Telegram's big, and that is sort of
another encryption.
That's end-to-end encryption, right? WhatsApp, it's default.
Signal,
Messenger, it's you opt in. Signal is one of the famous ones, the most famous one, right? So is there a need to secure? I mean, your phone is a little computer, and you probably have more data going through there than your computer in many instances. Do you need to do anything on your phone to make it more secure?
Yes, definitely. First of all, the face password, it's good to have. You don't want to have that. Just put a code, but put 6 digits at the minimum.
Yeah.
4 digits.
Or the thumbprint.
Yeah, the thumbprint and stuff like that. But security people will always use just either a really long password to unlock their phones, depending on how secure they need it. But usually, for most people, just put a password. Just do the password. Don't put 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Yeah.
No, come up with something, that's good, but try to stay away from pet names, and definitely try to stay away from your kids' birthdays or your birthdays. You know why?
Do you recommend like, for example, these new password managers that sort of it's like your passwords are a random collection of symbols or numerals and characters.
Good thing and bad thing. I know the Androids already have them. And they have them built into the system. So that's good. Google built in. So those are really good. Why? Because it tells you, okay, you want to create it throws you a password that's really long, you'll never remember.
Yeah, you'll never remember.
Which is good. Doesn't matter. You don't need to remember it. The system keeps it for you.
The program.
Yeah, the program. Yeah. So I'll never have to remember it. If I don't have to go write it down in my little notes. I don't need to write it underneath my desk. It keeps it there, and I don't have to remember. I only recall it when I need to. And it shows me the login and super long password and copy paste, whatever.
So you recommend that?
I do recommend it, but with caution. It is, in the security world, it's considered a single point of failure. Someone gains access to your
password manager.
Your password manager or your phone that has you have your password to your Google ID or Apple ID or whatever. You have access to all those passwords.
No, all of them.
Yeah, all of them. Everything. Yeah. So it's single point of failure. So that comes into play. That's why I always say your toughest passwords, like the ones that you have to remember, obviously, but they're tough, is your email and your Google or Apple ID. Those have to be the most unique ones. They have to be different. They cannot be the same, and they have to be difficult.
Like your preferred online operating system. Mostly it's what most people that use Android are on the Google ecosystem and the Apple ecosystem.
And I'm, like I said, I'm more familiar with the Apple because that's what I support the most. Yeah. But I know there's some settings on Google where you uploading side apps, turn that off. Don't ever turn it on. I think it's off by default.
Side loading.
Yeah. Make sure that's off.
That's when you try to install software that's not on the App Store.
Yeah. Don't do that. Yeah. On the iPhone, Apple iOS is considered one of the first, if not only, security first OSs. So that's why when you want to change your password for your Apple ID or whatever, you have to enter a code on this device and enter the password from the other device and do it. It's a pain in the butt. Yeah. But why is it? Because it's security for someone like me that has to go and jump all these hoops to be able to unlock your phone.
And what, for example, for I know big corporations, they like we talked about it at length about. They take this very seriously.
Yeah, it's financial. Anything having to do with money.
But I don't think, and especially like, for example, here in Laredo, like small law firms, accounting firms,
lack of knowledge, lack of education.
Just stores like a mom and pops. What would you recommend?
Income tax preparers.
Income tax preparers. That's a good one. What would you recommend to these businesses in terms of securing their stuff? They're like being cyber-hygiene. Yeah, cyber-hygiene. Yeah.
It's just like your Wi-Fi protected. They have what it's called. When you go in to see a Wi-Fi, it's called an SSID, the name of the Wi-Fi. Yeah, you can turn that off. It won't broadcast.
Oh.
So, hey. But when my friend comes over, how he's going to find it? Well, you have to tell him the name of it, so he puts it in manually. Oh,
a lot of people have like the name of their Wi-Fi is set up.
Whatever.
Like it's the original, the default one that came with the modem.
They do all that. You can turn that off. It won't broadcast. If you really want to be secure, and the devices that are always on your network, I got my TV, my vacuum cleaner, my whatever. You can tell most routers have it, what's called MAC addressing. It's not Apple MAC. Every device on the internet has a specific number.
Yeah.
Not an IP number, but a MAC address. And you can tell your Wi-Fi router, I'm only allowing and you get your list of MAC addresses because you can look at your list. I know it's getting technical, but for those who do understand, you can get your list of MAC addresses and then just tell the router, only these MAC addresses come into this network.
Yeah.
That's it. So no password for the Wi-Fi. And you can broadcast free Wi-Fi, but nobody can get in.
Oh, interesting.
Nobody can get in. How do I get into your Wi-Fi if I want to get into your outside? It's called an evil twin attack.
Okay. That sounds interesting.
Okay, so you know how you can turn on a hotspot on your phone, right?
Yes.
Okay, so I go outside your home and I scan it. I see the SSID, Sergio's Wi-Fi. I go into my hotspot and I change mine to Sergio's Wi-Fi and just put it outside, wait for you to come in and try to go in. I have software that records all the passwords.
So literally you could be parked outside.
Yeah, I can be parked out, or not even parked outside. I can just leave the phone somewhere in the bushes.
Is that done?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It's one of the attack vectors. You know?
That's fascinating.
So you just leave it outside, wait till you try to get in. Oh, I'm trying to, oh, no me deja ma. I just put it in the password again and again. They just got it. So you finally get in, you forget about it. I go pick up the device. I can look at it. Oh, I got the password for the Wi-Fi.
Man, Tommy, I think we're running late on time, but I have one more question.
Shoot.
The cybersecurity industry, obviously, it's something that's getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger.
Not here.
Well, as the world just goes more and more and more digital, and I mean, now you said like all these devices that are plugged into your Wi-Fi, man. Like the light bulbs, music, TVs. I mean, you name it. Yeah. Kids' toys. It's
gathering data.
It's so this industry is exploding. How would a person who wants to get into the field go about learning about this? I mean, there's degree programs now?
There is degree programs, and since it's in a lot of ways, I consider it still a fairly new, where there is degree programs already for it. Before there wasn't, because how would you teach for something that's so new? You know,
of course.
And then trying to find, you know, it pays very well. The industry pays people well who know this. So it's very difficult. I would say it's very difficult to find an instructor, because why would I go teach when you're going to pay me peanuts compared to what I'm going to be making doing this stuff on the side?
Yeah, okay, that's interesting.
So it's very hard. You know, the programs that I've known here locally, the little that I know of, the people that have tried have literally zero knowledge or zero experience on that field. Like they haven't been doing that for 5 years or 1 year or 6 months.
Okay.
Actually,
hands-on.
Hands-on.
Yeah.
You know, I've got a certification. I did all. No. What have you done?
Like out in the trenches.
Yeah. Like have you messed around with pineapple Wi-Fi's, IDSs, and you know such and such and such. You know, rubber duckies. But they might know the terms and they might be familiar with it, but they've never really been with that, doing it.
Yeah.
Or they've practiced on it. No. Have you actually been employed as in doing that for a corporation, organization, whatever? And that's the skills that you're having Geek Squad people trying to teach cyber. And
San Antonio is a big hub for it, right?
Huge.
Can you describe the scope of it or how it came about? Or?
Yeah, Lackland. NSA.
Lackland, dude. Okay, please. We will make the time to hear
Here's
this.
my assumption, without any knowledge, only from rumors and stuff. Obviously, NSA is big there.
The National Security Agency.
And they got a big old facility, and that from what I know, I've never seen it.
Yeah. Obviously.
No. Obviously, I think I had to get shot if I would be able to see it.
Yeah.
So I've heard that it's in Lackland. They've taken over Lackland, and it's a big organization there, so much so that now UTSA is one of the major hubs for cyber.
Yeah.
I mean, they have some really good cyber programs in there. So San Antonio is excellent for cyber. Anybody willing to get into cyber, go to UTSA.
What's the profile of people who gravitate? Like, hey, young guys and girls, if you're into this, and this, and this, consider cyber.
Remember, the head cyber person of the federal government is a female.
Yeah, African American
female.
I saw that article.
Yeah, and she's an ex-attorney
at DEF CON. Yeah,
we have a lot of attorneys transitioning to cyber. I've seen a lot of that in there.
Are the skill sets similar?
Analytical.
Analytical.
And they fall into certain parts of it, not everything, but they fall into certain parts of it, just like CPAs. CPAs are starting to transition to it also through GRC, governance reporting and compliance, because of the audits. CPAs are familiar with SOC 2. Well, it's very similar to what GRC does with cyber. So CPAs are coming around. We have a lot of from different backgrounds, not necessarily backgrounds of cyber that some of the jobs like what's called SOC analysts. Those are security analysts. They're looking at patterns. Patterns. All they look at is screen and patterns. And I have a lot of friends that have admitted to me that's why I'm good at it, because of their disability.
Like
autistic.
On the spectrum.
They can pick up those patterns better than any normal human can. They can see differences. And
well, supposedly a lot of these guys, Elon Musk,
he admitted
it, and Zuckerberg.
I've had
pretty much
a lot of my friends admit it, and because a lot of the cyber people are ADD. So what they listen when they have a hard time reading. So what do? They do audiobooks on fast forward.
Whoa.
Just to pick up the information like that.
That's fascinating.
So those are the tricks that we've had in discussions and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But there's no way, as a SOC analyst, you're going to compare with an individual that can spot patterns out of the blue. You give him a sheet, look at it for 5 seconds. I'm going to be like this. He's just like, oh, I saw a problem. Oh, what?
That's fascinating. So those people excel in this field.
Yeah, and they, in a lot of sense that, because they work remotely, a lot of them, they work at home by themselves. It's ideal for them. Yeah. They're the ones that report stuff immediately. They're like, we got a problem here.
Yeah, because a lot of them are very socially not.
And some of the best penetration testers, the females, they're known as the witches.
The witches.
Yeah, because they can persuade and get into a facility through persuasion. Think fast on your feet, be able to change, hi, what's your name? Oh, yeah, and be able to get in. Yeah. You know what I mean?
That's fascinating, man.
Yeah. So a lot of the females are, there was one time when we had like a group of students. You bring up any female that's listening to this right now will just give that face. If she's next to a guy, this is the face, and guys turn around and look at her face, because this is what she's going to do. I can guarantee you, because it happens all the time. If you put an experiment on social media, guy and girl, random, whatever, and you tell them, hey, I want you to find out as much as you can from each other. The girl's just already laughing. She already knows she won. The girl's going to kill him. And he thinks he's going to win. The girl will annihilate him 10 times over, twice on Sunday, because they have those skills and they can analyze data. So how they do it all the time. Who are you dating? I'm dating this. Let's go to social media, investigate the shit out of him. By the end of the day, they already know how many girlfriends she has, who he hangs out, where he hangs out. Because the girls can do that like immediately.
That
Guys
is very interesting.
We're too dumb.
We're just too stupid.
We're too stupid. We would go in a different girls. But in cyber, that's open source intelligence. They need information. They are evil. They are the witches. They're evil.
The witches, man. That's awesome.
They're
That's
just
hilarious.
like evil. And then, they get into the data, they put in, they get their wage, whatever, get the information, and then they pass it on to the nerds that are upstairs coding.
Yeah. Man, that's fascinating, man.
Yeah. So,
well, I think we'll end with the witches, and we'll continue this conversation.
The witches and the wizards.
The wizards and the witches, man. That's the lingo, huh?
Yeah.
Tommy, I want to thank you, man. Please plug your business and what you do, Max Solutions. That's your consumer facing.
Yeah, it's my consumer facing, and what we offer is what is called MSSP services.
Okay.
Managed Security Services Provider.
Okay.
So what we do is, for those in transportation, you all know what the CPAT is?
Yes.
Well, there is a section now with cyber because of the supply chain. We come in and we take care of that for you. We tell you what to put in there. A lot of CPAs have been calling because IRS are slowly moving into that. But they haven't made it a mandate yet, but they're asking them to show the same thing that they're doing, proactive steps on cyber to protect their client data. Income tax preparers. Oh man, those are the worst.
Yeah.
The worst.
They handle a lot of sensitive data.
Yeah, they
Obviously.
handled everything. And what do they handle it on? The family computer that Junior plays games on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's true, man.
That's the worst. The worst.
Jeez, I hadn't thought of all that.
Yeah.
Tommy, thank you so much, my friend. I knew that we were just going to have a fascinating conversation. I just saw the clock. I can't believe it. Thank you so much, my friend. We will, like I told you, I obviously enjoy this topic a lot, and I had never really done a podcast about this topic that I enjoy reading about a lot and learning about a lot and using a lot. And I've always had these fascinating conversations with you about all this stuff. I'm like, look, I need to invite Tommy. We need to sit down and talk about all this stuff. And we did, and it came out great. And I want to thank you, my friend.
Okay. And just a heads up, we're going to start utilizing cyber-hygiene free courses, free seminars. We're utilizing the City of Laredo's Biblioteca facilities.
Very cool, man. Please send me the information.
We have a couple of them already scheduled, but I need to iron it out with the city because I think I think the person that's gathering the people that want to go, which are moms that want to learn more about how to protect their stuff from on social media. But I think they want to hold them after 5 p.m. So I got to get together with the city. They're going to have them at the library or one of those.
I think that's a tremendously good idea. I think it's much needed.
It's totally free, and I have to do them anyway because just like this thing, I'm mandated by my cyber search to provide cyber education. So
wow, man, that's very cool.
To do this.
Well, please send me the information, and I will do my best to spread the word.
Sounds good.
Tommy, thank you so much. Everybody, thank you for tuning in to this amazing, fascinating, and insightful conversation. On behalf of Frontera Radio, we'll be back very soon. I want to thank you for tuning in. May God bless you, and may you have a good night.